The most anticipated fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol has finally come to an end, and the experts already shared their thoughts on the clash.
We measure his work, I mean, good or not, but I always, like I say, I am not bad boxer, I did not bad work, but I think Mark, my coach, my team will prove my подтвердят.
Все замерли, охренеть.
Все замерли. Мы все замерли.
Артур молится. Бля, честно? Так тебе и надо, дебил. Вы испугались? Знаете, что обидно? Артур, да! Потому что карма настигла Бивола. Иди к своей Мармаре. Вот мое истинное лицо. Нет, честно, иди к Мармарихе. Я была права.
I mean, it was a close fight.
It was a close fight, but I did think Bivol won it.
Okay. How did you have it, Frank? Did you score it?
I had a couple of rounds. I had him up by a couple of rounds. Sorry, I had him up by a couple of rounds.
Okay. A fascinating fight, though.
It's a great fight. I mean, really good, keenly fought contest, and both of them really give everything they had.
How tough was this fight?
I don't know. I'm a neutral in it, to be honest. I mean, I've not got any interest. I did think Bivol just won it.
What was His Excellency saying? Does he want a rematch? What does he want?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. I'm sure he will do. That's for sure.
Listen, that was a kind of mix. We know that was a very, very close fight. But I told Artur, like, we need knockout, we need to go. Because when he put pressure on him, he was alone. And that's exactly what I want to create, like some emotion, like stay with him. And I think we win the 2 last round and win the fight.
How did you score it yourself?
Very close. At the end, I was not sure, like maybe draw, maybe I win, maybe. That was a very close fight, but we win the second part of the fight, of course.
You know, we forget. I talked about it earlier. Beterbiev, yeah, the other guy looks more polished, and he is, and more dimensional, and he is. But never sleep on Beterbiev technically being sound, because he is. He's covered up, he's buttoned up, comes in the right way, behind the jab, a strong jab, a hard jab. I was surprised Beterbiev didn't go the body more early. But you know what? As soon as I got surprised, what did he do? He went to the body late, and it made a difference. It took some of the air out of the tire of Bivol and made him stand in front a little too much. But a lot of heart by Bivol, both guys. Bivol went to the body more up until the end than Beterbiev was, believe it or not. But a tremendous fight, a fight that was fitting of a unification fight of two great fighters.
.com, Conor Ben, how did you score that fight?
Beterbiev winning the fight. I see a lot of people online saying Bivol had won it. People I know who are watching the fight on TV said Bivol had won it. Beterbiev winning the fight. I think Bivol started off fast, won the early rounds, started slowing down, and Beterbiev started really dominating.
Think a rematch is granted?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it goes any other way. I think Beterbiev just puts, applies pressure and hunts his prey down.
Eddie, I was surprised by the decision, but just
a joke.
Say that again.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
They knew. They told him in the 10th round, you have to knock him out to win this fight.
Who told him, the corner?
Yeah, it's on TV.
Yeah.
They're all standing in the corner. The fight's over. We're in the Bivol's corner. I'm looking around. They are like this. How could you score that fight 8-4 to Artur Beterbiev? Unbelievable. Terrible decision.
What can be done? What are you guys gonna do to?
Listen, hopefully His Excellency will do the decent thing and give both Bivol a rematch. It was a masterclass performance in what was an amazing fight. I don't want to disrespect Artur Beterbiev because he's an incredible champion, but he did not win that fight. Dmitry Bivol won that fight.
Guys, I don't have any excuses. I don't have belts. I didn't win the fight. It means I just want a rematch, and that's it. I want to get another chance if it's possible. I could be better, I know.
Fabio Wardley sensational.
I mean, look, that was just completely unbelievable. 2 shots. First one sent him up the other, hurt him. But that last one, I mean, that absolutely knocked him senseless. He was out on his feet, absolutely out on his feet.
This is Umar for Box Nation. Amir Khan's on a chair. He hasn't grown. Don't worry.
Listen, I'm not gonna jump. But what a fight that was, honestly. As a boxing fan, to see 2 great fighters, I mean, wow. I mean, look, I've not seen a fight like that for a very, very long time. Both guys were punch perfect, to cut the ring well. But one thing about Bivol, I've seen him fight before, and I had him winning this fight before watching it. But it's the first time I've seen Artur fight, and what a beast he is. I mean, the guy was punch perfect, solid, took some big shots, but came back stronger and came back with some bigger shots back. I mean, punch perfect style.
No, you can. It's fine. I've got a mic here. I had him up personally, just Bivol. How did you have it?
Up to round 10, I had it even. It was the last 2 rounds that won the fight for Artur. It was them championship rounds which won him the fight, and he pulled through. He put the pressure on Bivol, kept him on the back foot, and it was hurting him. I mean, he did catch him with some very hard, big shots. So I think the last 2 rounds won him the fight.
Eddie Hearn described the recent fight as a true 50-50 matchup, highlighting Dmitry Bivol as the master boxer and Artur Beterbiev as a relentless destruction machine. He acknowledged both as incredible fighters, 2 of the very best in the sport.
But it's a complete 50-50 fight. Bivol, the master boxer, and, you know, Artur Beterbiev, just a destruction machine. Very powerful, incredible fighter, 2 of the very best in the sport going at it.
Albert Ramirez believed that the fight would be a 50-50 matchup, but bet on Beterbiev to win by knockout. He stated, "For me, it is a 50-50 fight on paper. I know how Artur trains personally, and I've heard Bivol is always doing good training. But if I do have to put money on the fight, I will have to say that Artur will win by knockout." Roy Jones Jr. believed that Dmitry Bivol held a slight advantage ahead of his huge, undisputed battle against Artur Beterbiev later that year. Jones Jr., a former light heavyweight champion himself, identified several factors that suggested Bivol should be considered the favorite.
No.
No.
Not 50-50. One, Beterbiev is 38 years old. Beterbiev has been down.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Artur Beterbiev's trainer, Mark Ramsey, believed that Dmitry Bivol may have intentionally delayed the fight, hoping that time would catch up with Beterbiev and he would start to show signs of aging. However, Ramsey pointed out that instead of slowing down, Beterbiev had only improved over time. He stated, "It's going to be a very important fight. There is nothing personal here for Artur. He just wants to beat the guy in front of him, and at the end of the day, he just really wants to win. This is his main thing. He is just very competitive. He is always training and in the gym. We've just been waiting and waiting. They are hoping that one day Artur is going to get old, but he is just getting better and better." Carl Frampton expressed uncertainty about the outcome of the fight, but acknowledged his excitement for the matchup. He praised Beterbiev's strength, ferocity, and toughness, describing him as rugged and powerful. In contrast, he noted Bivol's agility and movement, although he didn't hit as hard. Frampton admitted that, if pressed to choose, he would likely have favored Beterbiev.
Don't know. I have no idea. I think that's again a quality fight. One that I'm really, really excited about. I think Beterbiev, his strength and ferocity is something else. Strength in particular, like so strong, so tough, so rugged. Bivol's a bit more kind of fleet-footed, doesn't punch as hard. Great mover though. I don't know. I'll leave that a bit closer. I don't know who's going to win that fight. If you put a gun to my head now, I would probably favour Beterbiev.
Robert Garcia thought that Bivol might find himself in trouble against the knockout King Beterbiev. He said that in order to win this fight, Bivol had to be the better one in the ring. He stated, "I think so too. But he's Bivol got to be a better fighter than Beterbiev, because with Beterbiev, it's f***ing hard. So one punch." He also believed that Bivol had to move quickly to counter the power of Beterbiev. He added, "Well, that's what Bivol's gonna do. Just boom, 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 touch, touch, and move and touch, touch, and move. But that power is always there, man. That power is the last thing that leaves." Regis Prograis shared his thoughts, leaning towards Beterbiev as the likely winner. He recounted a conversation with someone who had sparred with Beterbiev in Las Vegas, describing how intense the experience had been. The sparring partner told Prograis that sparring with Beterbiev for 4 rounds felt like fighting 20, emphasizing Beterbiev's monstrous power. Prograis concluded that, based on these insights, he viewed Beterbiev as an absolute killer in the ring and would lean towards him in the fight.
I think Beterbiev. Yeah, I think Beterbiev, and only because when I was in Vegas, I was with somebody that sparred him, and he said, "Oh my God, that dude is." He said, "Man, sparring with him 4 rounds is like fighting 20 rounds. Like he's just a monster." He was like, "Man, I think he sparred with him and Bivol. He was like, "Man, he was like, man, Beterbiev is a absolute killer. He's a monster." So I would lean towards Beterbiev.
Undisputed heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk appeared to predict who would become the next undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. When Usyk was asked about his thoughts on the upcoming fight during the 3 Knockdown Rule podcast shared on YouTube, The Cat, Usyk, chose Bivol as the potential victor. The Ukrainian champion said, "I guess Bivol, he has good legs, good movement. I watched the fight with Canelo Alvarez. Good boxing, defending, counter-punch and combos." Lyndon Arthur, who had the experience of sparring with Artur Beterbiev in the past, shared his insights on a potential matchup between Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. According to Arthur, Bivol undoubtedly had the technical skills and boxing IQ to hold his own in the ring, but Beterbiev's raw power was a significant factor that couldn't be underestimated.
I just want to ask you, obviously, as a man who shared the ring with Dmitry Bivol, he's facing Artur Beterbiev now. What's your thoughts on that undisputed match?
Well, I used to think Bivol was I still think Bivol was the best. Bivol was elite, but now I've seen that, and I felt Bivol doesn't hit as hard as what I think he needs to keep Beterbiev off. I've sparred Beterbiev. I know how hard Beterbiev hits in 16 ounces. I wouldn't like to take them shots in 10 ounces. Not for as long as that anyway. As a 12-round fight, and I don't know, man. Bivol's a boxer through and through, and he'll be happy to stay in there and box it off if it can be done. But I'm excited for that fight. I'm sitting on the fence.
Jile Zhang confidently predicted that Artur Beterbiev would knock out Dmitry Bivol. In an interview with Boxing Scene, Zhang shared his thoughts on the potential matchup, stating that Beterbiev's power would be too much for Bivol to handle, ultimately leading to a KO. He stated, "They're both great fighters, but Beterbiev will hurt him and probably end this fight with a knockout. I think Beterbiev's power will overwhelm Bivol's in-and-out footwork and his skill set. I think Beterbiev is just way too strong." Joe Smith Jr., who had fought both boxers before, thought that Bivol had been more difficult for him to handle, but he also credited Beterbiev's boxing skills.
In my opinion, I felt Bivol was, the tougher fight for me. He's all-around fighter, but both fighters are very skilled. Beterbiev, he's very accurate with his punches. He hits you where he wants to. But I would be looking forward to seeing the two of them fight. But
Oleksandr Gvozdyk, who was overpowered by Artur Beterbiev in their fight, voiced his support for Dmitry Bivol in the upcoming bout. Alongside Joe Smith Jr., Gvozdyk backed Bivol. Beterbiev's recent injury raised concerns among fans and fighters, with some speculating that this could be his last fight. Gvozdyk was among those questioning whether Beterbiev's time in the ring might be coming to an end. Beterbiev is starting to fall apart and getting injured pretty often. He's not a young guy, and it's not a joke anymore. He's almost 40 years old. He's been fighting since he got out of the crib. He's had many injuries and many wars. You never know what kind of Beterbiev we're going to see, especially after his latest serious injury. Sean Porter believed that Bivol would win the fight, citing his youth as an advantage. He thought that Beterbiev had been like a freight train, overpowering smaller and larger opponents alike, but noted that such intense collisions would eventually catch up to a fighter over time.
Bivol, I think, wins that fight. I think he's got youth. Yes, I did. Yeah, I think that he's just got youth on his side. And, Beterbiev has been a Mack truck running into other smaller trucks, other big trucks, and those kind of collisions, they will catch up to you at some point. I talked about it with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. We just talked about the mileage. The mileage that Bivol has is just different from the mileage that Beterbiev has. So I think Bivol wins. We'll see.
Hasim Rahman believed that Artur Beterbiev's boxing skills had been underappreciated as he prepared for the biggest fight of his career. Always quick to offer an opinion on major bouts, Rahman delivered his verdict on the upcoming meeting that had the entire boxing industry split. Artur Beterbiev has excellent boxing skills. He had a tremendous amateur background and went to 2 Olympics, said Rahman when speaking to Fight Hype. Nobody has brought it out yet because his power is so devastating. That rules everything. Bivol, if he makes Beterbiev box, he'll beat him. He's a better fighter. I do think Bivol has better footwork, but I think Beterbiev has the ability to cut the ring off and make him fight. He further added, if you're telling me that Bivol is not going to get hit by Beterbiev, if you're not telling me that, then you're not telling me anything I want to hear, because he's going to lose. Shane McGuigan believed that Beterbiev was in better form compared to Bivol, who had looked impressive against Canelo but had been inactive since then and didn't perform as well in his last fight. McGuigan noted that Beterbiev had seemed fragile and flat before facing Callum Johnson, where he was dropped. However, Beterbiev had since come into his own. McGuigan pointed out that while some may consider the fight against Anthony Yarde competitive, it wasn't. Beterbiev simply took his foot off the gas and boxed in bursts. He emphasized that Beterbiev's performance against Callum Smith demonstrated he was in great form.
Ross, I just believe Beterbiev or Beterbiev that you called him is on better form. Bivol looked really good when he boxed Canelo, and then he's kind of just been inactive a little bit and didn't look as good in his last one, and he sort of laboured it. You know, I think you haven't had Beterbiev looked a bit fragile and a little bit flat just before he boxed Callum Johnson. Then Callum Johnson dropped him. Like around that time, he wasn't looking at his best, and now he's really he's come into his own. And people might say that Anthony Yarde fight was a competitive fight. It wasn't really. He just took his foot off the gas and then boxed in bursts. I think he was very within himself at that fight. And then Callum Smith Callum's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. So to do that to Callum Smith, he's on great form.
Teddy Atlas went against the typical predictions for Artur Beterbiev's upcoming clash with Dmitry Bivol. Atlas, the former trainer of Mike Tyson and a respected voice in boxing, believed that despite Beterbiev's power, it would be Bivol who would claim the stoppage. He stated, he's slowing down, he's cutting up easier. He's 38 years old with 300 amateur fights, a lot of tough fights in the pros. He's aging, nobody beats Father Time. He further added, I never will rule out Beterbiev, he's got power, he's got character and pride, but yeah, I got Bivol a solid favorite. I think there's a good chance he stops him late in the fight, either by cuts or by just an endless barrage of punches. Beterbiev is not a defensive wizard, where the referee would probably have to stop it, or his corner would have to stop it. Jim Lampley remarked that both fighters were exceptional technicians with power. He noted that while Beterbiev had an edge in punching power, it didn't guarantee victory. Lampley highlighted that Bivol, who had outboxed Canelo Alvarez, demonstrated confidence and adaptability, which would enable him to win. He concluded that it was a 50-50 fight and expressed eagerness to see it.
It's two really terrific technicians. They both have power. I do think that it's logical to accord to Beterbiev an edge in punching power. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to win the fight. The Bivol who outboxed Canelo Alvarez, supremely confident, in command of his craft, able to choose other options besides the ones right in front of him to continue succeeding in the late rounds, he could win that fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Can't wait to see it.
Paul Smith was a concerned spectator earlier this year while watching his brother, Callum Smith, face Artur Beterbiev. As a former world title challenger and British champion, Smith understood the highest level of boxing from his experience in the ring with Andre Ward. After witnessing Beterbiev up close, he predicted that Beterbiev would come out on top on October 12th. I can't see past Beterbiev, said Smith when speaking to Boxing News. Bivol's quality, he's really good. Having seen Beterbiev up close a couple of times, I side with Beterbiev. I think he'll eventually get to him, but it's not a foregone conclusion by any stretch. Adi Oladipo stated he was Team Bivol and believed Bivol versus Beterbiev was the real fight of the year, despite the hype around the heavyweight title fight. He emphasized that this matchup featured the clear number 1 and 2 fighters, with number 3 far behind. Oladipo described it as an incredible clash of styles, Bivol as a slick, aggressive boxer, and Beterbiev as a relentless wrecking machine.
I'm Team Bivol all the way. I love him too much to go against him now, but that is just... I mean, I know people are saying this is fight of the year, right? Undisputed heavyweight title fight, I get it. But Bivol Beterbiev is the fight of the year. There's no two ways about it. Because this is guaranteed, no arguments, number 1 versus number 2. Like number 3, so far in the distance, I don't even know who number 3 is. This is an astoundingly good fight between two incredible fighters, two different styles. You've got Bivol that's a slick back foot fighter that can be aggressive. You've got Beterbiev, who's just a wrecking machine.
Blair Cobbs expected Artur Beterbiev's power to be decisive against Dmitry Bivol later this year. With an undefeated record and a 100% knockout streak, Beterbiev was entering the fight as a formidable opponent. While acknowledging that Bivol might be his toughest challenge yet, Cobbs, a welterweight contender, believed Beterbiev would still emerge victorious. Artur Beterbiev has unbelievable strength and power. I don't know how Bivol is going to be able to fight somebody like that, said Cobbs when speaking to pro boxing fans. I don't see Bivol being able to survive something like that. But it will be very interesting. Bivol could land too many punches on Beterbiev, mess around, and start piling on points. Joe Gallagher expressed that he couldn't pick a clear winner at the moment, but he was leaning towards Bivol by points. However, he noted that if Beterbiev stood there and landed clean shots, it would be good night for Bivol.
Bivol Beterbiev, can't pick him at the moment. I'm going with Bivol on points at the moment, but if Beterbiev stands there and lands, it's a good night for Vienna.
Terence Crawford, considered by many to be the best in the world, made his prediction during an Instagram live session, backing Bivol in the upcoming fight. I think the best man's going to win. The one that executes their game plan the best will win in that fight. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Bivol because of his boxing skills, his movement, and just his will to keep a fighter at the distance that he needs. I think that's one thing that's going to carry him to victory. Beterbiev, he's strong, he's going to be coming to fight, but I think Bivol's jab is going to stop all that forcefully coming straight forward. Lonnie B expressed his excitement for the fight and firmly backed his pick, predicting it wouldn't go past 7 or 8 rounds. He noted that Beterbiev stopped Callum Smith in 7 rounds and viewed Bivol, who could fight at super middleweight, as smaller and less capable of lasting longer. Critiquing Bivol's movement, he believed Beterbiev's ability to cut off the ring and target the shoulders and hips would result in a quick stoppage.
I'm excited for the fight. It's going to be on. Y'all know who I'm rocking with. I think Beterbiev, I don't think it'll go past 7 or 8. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Like somebody who's like Callum Smith, who's extremely big, who really possibly could fight at cruiserweight. I have to get him out of there in 7. Bivol really can fight at super middleweight, my size. I can't see him. I don't think he don't. In my opinion, he doesn't move that well for more rounds than that. And Arthur cuts the ring off extremely well, and just the beating on him, the shoulders, the hips, and I think Bivol's going to get stopped relatively fast.
So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about tonight's tremendous fight? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.